How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another round of my F2 2020 Championship here for round 5 at the Baku City Circuit in Azerbaijan. So first of all, I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to everyone. Forgot to say it in yesterday's video, but hope everyone had a good day. But with that said, starting the qualifying lap, just wanted to mention that for this one I'm running the increased top speed preset setup, so it should hopefully be a lot quicker than the other cars on the long main straight. But now I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the lap. So as we head through the very fast chicane on the run down to the start finish line, we're in P17 at the start of the straight, but with the increased top speed, the lower downforce setup, we're just gaining positions, moving our way up the grid. P9 at the moment, and as we cross the line, that is where we finish in this qualifying session. So after what looked to be pretty poor through the start of the lap, we managed to recover well into the top 10. Drugovic takes pole ahead of his countryman Pedro Piquet, Schwarzman in third, followed by Matsushita, Markelov, Sonoda, Sato, Aiken, and then Samaya rounding out the top 10.
Welcome back to Baku. We're on the edge of the Caspian Sea in a bustling, vibrant capital, which for only the third time plays host to Formula 2. This is not your usual racing circuit. It provides one of the most complete tests for the field. Sector 1 sports a set of 90-degree corners around the block, if you like. Sector 2 gets even tighter with the old city walls. Sector 3 just turns 16 to negotiate.
And as we go to the 5 red lights for the feature race from P9, 5 lights are on. And as they go out, we get a pretty okay start, but then get a long wheel spin, have to get off the throttle. That allows Alesi to get past us from P10, so great start by the French driver. We managed to hold it around the outside and keep our start position. Then into turn 2, we dive down the inside of Aiken. I have to admit I wasn't going to try and make a move there, but I just wasn't expecting the cars ahead to brake so early and had to go to the inside to avoid the campos. Down into turn 3, had a little look to see if I could go down the inside here, but decided to hold position for now. And in the first sequence of corners on lap 1, we managed to hold position. Then on to the end of lap 1, like in qualifying, through this fast chicane we carry a lot more speed than all the other drivers. Get into the slipstream of Aiken, think about going to the inside but go to the outside, and it's a pretty easy move on the British driver. So pretty good lap 1, making up 1 position from our starting place. Turn 1 then, Aiken gets the slipstream back on us, but luckily for us he can't make any move on us into the first turn, and we remain in P8. Then on to towards the end of lap 2, Marcus Armstrong, you can see in the bottom corner, has some sort of an engine failure and retires from the race. And once again, I think this is every race this season so far, every round this season there's been some kind of a safety car, either a feature or a sprint race. But myself and all the other drivers take advantage of this and come into the pits. But all the other drivers are going to hit on to another set of super soft tyres and commit to the 2-stop, whereas I'm going to pit onto the mediums, which will hopefully be able to take me to the end of the race. But as you can see here, get massively held in the pits, and when we come out going down the fast lane, you can see here that the damage driver of Dan Picton is released into us and manages to get ahead of us. So from P8 we're down into P10 after the pit stops. As I've mentioned already, we don't need to stop again in this race, all things going well. So towards the end of lap 4 then, waiting for the safety car to come in, staying up close behind Dan Picton to try and get a good launch, maybe make a move into turn 1. And as the leader decides to go, we get a pretty good reaction, fall a bit further back from Picton than I would have wanted. Into turn 1, don't want to make a move here, but I get caught out by the AI braking so early. We run into the back of Picton and get massive wing damage and are spun around into the exit of turn 1. And from P10 and looking like we were going to easily win this race, we're all the way down into last place with massive wing damage. See there the incident from Schumacher's perspective, he was the car behind us. But now really my thinking was that I don't want to pit, because like in Zandvoort, if I pit now I'll have to put on another set of mediums and that ruin my sprint race. And if I can stay out, take the lead race, maybe I'll be able to defend and get something from this race. And on to lap 8 and now lap 9, all the other cars are after pitting and we do inherit the lead of the race. And now we're just going to wait to see who the car behind is. I think it's going to be Schwartzman, and just see what sort of gap we have to him, and over the next few laps try and monitor to see how much time we're losing with this wing damage and the slightly older tyres. As you can see there, Schwartzman about 8.5 seconds ahead, and on to the start of lap 11. You can see the gap has come down to 2.3 seconds as cars behind are setting lap times of around 1:54, whereas I'm still going slower than my personal best, which is only a 1:57. So we're closing in about 3 seconds a lap. And on to the end of lap 11, you can see that Schwartzman has closed in about 3 seconds and he's in my DRS. Through this chicane, the damage wasn't actually seeming to make too much of a difference. I was still able to carry a lot of speed, but with the full front wing, Schwartzman is still able to carry more speed, and then with the DRS, the Prema driver moves past us and into turn 1 he gets position and gets into the lead of the race, demoting us down to second. And now PK is just a few tenths behind and he's going to be putting us under pressure, as through the second sector here you can see an understeer wide hitting the wall, and that allows PK to go side by side with us and into this left-hander turn 15. He hits the curb, bounces him into us, so both losing time there. Luckily no one getting any more damage, but the time we lost allows Lundgaard to get past us as well. So in the space of just 2 corners we've lost 2 positions, and now in the dirty air not able to take near as much speed as we wanted through that fast chicane. And on the run down to this long main straight we managed to get DRS from Lundgaard, but I don't think that's going to be any help to us, as the cars behind, Drugovic and Aiken, tried to make a move on us. Aiken from 2 cars back goes up the inside of Drugovic, almost makes a move on me into turn 1. Luckily on this occasion managed to stay ahead, as the Campos and the MP Motorsport drivers are side by side into turn 2. But Drugovic managed to hold on to position for now, as the next lap, lap 13, still managed to stay ahead of those 2, as we have a very big train behind us, you can see on the mini-map. But looking at the car information, we've somehow got more damage on the front wing. It's probably from that contact with PK. Went to turn 1 on lap 14. You saw there behind that Aiken and Drugovic were side by side once again into turn 1. I think Markelov tried to get a move on the 2 of them, and someone hits us and we go wide. That allows Drugovic to get past. We get DRS on Drugovic for the run between turn 2 and turn 3, but we're side by side with Markelov on the run down to the 3rd turn and into this left-hander. Markelov has the inside, we hold it around the outside as the race lap gets a bit of oversteer, and into turn 4 we have the inside once again and we manage to stay ahead for the time being. But into this chicane we managed to take it pretty well. I think this section of the track is where we're losing the most time. But on the run between turn 6 and 7, the very tight right-hander. Markelov goes up the inside, and I have to say that was a very good move by Markelov, something that you'd expect from an actual player in online, not an AI in a career sort of championship. On to lap 14 then, about to start the last lap. You see Tickton was behind us, but Aiken managed to get a better run on the two of us, and the British driver moves up into P6 onto the last lap, as once again we get hit into turn 1, and that allows Tickton to get past as well. So in one turn we've lost 2 positions, and now Sonoda is trying to have a move on us into turn 2, but we managed to get a better exit than the Carlin. We squeeze him a bit on the straight, and we managed to stay ahead of the Japanese driver for now. But through turn 11 and 12 we get a big snap of oversteer on the exit, and we pretty much gift the position to Sonoda, and crucially for him that will be reverse grip pole in 8th position. But now I just want to try and hold on to this place, because really finishing in the position I started, all things considered, in this race would be a very good result. But to go to the run to the line on the last lap, Sato and Schumacher behind us, you're going to see in a second, are pretty much side by side. I think Matsushita is going to get on this action as well, as it's a 3-way battle for the positions behind. I moved to the inside to try and break the toe, and we managed to come home in, as I said, all things considered, a pretty good P9. And we're going to look at a replay now of the cars behind on the run up to the line there from Matsushita's perspective. He was the 4th car in the train, including me, and he manages to get past Schumacher, who's held up behind Sato through the fast chicane, and unfortunately for Matsushita's sake, he wasn't able to get the Sato on the run to the line.
Now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema.
As I said, Robert Schwartzman takes the win for Prema ahead of Christian Lundgaard and Pedro Piquet round out the podium. Felipe Drugovich gets 4th ahead of Artem Markelov, Jack Aiken, Dan Tickton. Yuki Tsunoda gets reverse grip pole with myself in 9th, and Marina Sato round out the point scores in the feature race. As the 5 lights are on for the sprint race, the lights go out and we get a pretty decent start. I think it's better than in the feature race, but Sato still manages to get past us. Once again we go to the outside of turn 1, try and see if we can get the position back, but we end up losing another position to Schumacher. And into turn 2, again around the outside of the German this time, and on the run to turn 3 down this what would be the second DRS straight, we're side by side with Schumacher. You see there that my tyres were very cold because I actually skipped the formation lap by mistake. Went to turn 3 around the outside of Schumacher and back up into P10. So one place lost so far in lap 1, but like in the last race, through this fast chicane we get a much better run than Sato. It looks like he almost tips the wall on the inside, but we managed to get alongside, and it's a pretty easy pass on the Trident driver, as Yuki Tsunoda retains the lead of the race, setting the fastest lap. And into turn 1, onto the second lap, we're still in the position that we started in, so pretty solid start compared to the other starts this season. Down to the end of lap 2 now, you can see ahead Schwartzman is trying to make a move on Piquet. We're in the slipstream of Piquet, and with the lower wings, the higher top speed or run, we're actually able to challenge into turn 1. Down the inside you can see Piquet locks up slightly, so I want to not make any contact here, and unfortunately for now we don't make any position. Piquet has a compromise line into turn 2, so I go wide, try and get a better exit. On this occasion not able to, as the Toulouse driver has DRS like myself. Into turn 3, this fence to the inside, so once again I go to the outside, brake early and try and get a switch back, but can't get a good enough exit to make the move into turn 4 here, where we try the same trick again, but unfortunately once again Piquet gets a better exit than us, as we get a big snap of oversteer which allows Sato to make a move on us. So after all of that, looking like we were going to go up in position, we end up losing one on this lap. Towards the end of the lap, as is becoming a common theme now, we get a much better exit in the car ahead. Sato a terrible exit like he did on the previous lap, and we actually pass him so early with the better run that we don't get DRS as we hit the wall there, luckily not to get any damage. But Sato gets the DRS and into turn 1, he looks to the inside, we brake later, and around keeping the outside line we manage to stay ahead. On the exit we try and accelerate on the curb, and that gives Sato the opportunity to maybe make a move into turn 2, but we manage to hold position in P9 for the time being. And now it's just a case of trying to catch up again to the cars ahead. We'll start to pull away. On to lap 5, you can see ahead Markelov has had some kind of reliability issue as he pulls the runoff at turn 3 and retires his car, as that brings out yet another safety car, which I'll be honest, I'm getting a bit fed up of all the safety cars in this series. It's starting to take some of the fun and strategy in that out of it. But leaving that aside, on to lap 7, towards the end of lap 7, safety cars coming in. Once again staying right up behind Schwartzman. You can see there in the bottom right, the engine is massively overheated at the moment, so going to be slightly down on power. Going to turn it on this time, unlike the last race. I don't want to make any contact with the cars ahead, so staying well clear. I was actually trying to make a move around the outside of Schwartzman, but he makes a great move on PK down the inside, and into turn 2 we make a move on the outside of PK. So unfortunately for him, down 2 positions, but we'll move up into P7 and getting some points. You can see there again, a lot of overheating on the engine. On the end of lap 8, I dropped back a bit from Schwartzman as I was trying to cool the engine a bit so that I'd be able to attack later in the race with more power.
Pulling out a second lap on the car behind.
On to lap 10 now, through the fashion cane, you can see there 1.2 seconds behind Schwartzman, and by the time we get to the DRS detection zone we're only 8-9 tenths behind, so getting massively through that section of corners. As you can just about see, cars ahead are starting to battle a bit, but into turn 1 you can see we're just 7 tenths behind Schwartzman, 6 tenths now 4 tenths, so we gained about 6 tenths just on that straight with our setup and being able to take this fast chicane flat out. But on to the last lap now, I tried to stay close to the cars ahead so I could maybe try and have a run to the line like Schwartzman is having on Drugovic. With the RS, the MP Motorsport car has none, and we also managed to make a move as we finish this sprint race in P6 from P9.
And I can see the Carlin team underneath our commentary box going crazy as their driver walks out. It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team.
So Yuki Tsunoda takes his first win of the season in this championship, which is a bit of a surprise to me as I was expecting him to be a bit faster. Jack Aiken gets second with the man we made contact with in the feature race, Dan Tickton, round out the podium, with Lundgaard behind him, followed by Schwartzman, myself, Drugovic and Piquet round out the points in this race. Looking at the weekend results then, hasn't been a great weekend for myself, but Robert Schwartzman takes the most points ahead of Lundgaard and Jack Aiken. Myself down in 9th with just 6 points, which means that our championship advantage shrinks down to 18 points over Markelov, who also didn't have a great weekend with his DNF in the sprint race. And in the team championship, Virtuosi remain in the lead over Racelab. But with that, thanks for watching. Until the next one at the Austrian Grand Prix, I'll see you then.